It was a bright Monday morning in Providence, Rhode Island. The courtroom was bustling with people, each with their own stories and troubles. Judge Michael Spencer, a man well known for his compassionate yet no-nonsense approach, had just settled in for the day. He glanced at the docket and called the next case. Next up, Erin Parker, the court officer announced. A young woman stepped forward. Erin, a bright-eyed student, looked slightly nervous but carried herself with an air of resilience. She was from a small town just outside Providence and was currently studying at Roger Williams University. She wore her academic achievements like a badge of honor, but today, those achievements were not the topic of discussion. Judge Spencer looked at her paperwork. Erin, it says here you have a red light violation. Can you explain what happened? Erin nodded. Yes, Your Honor. I was driving with my friends back to campus after celebrating our finals. I got straight A's, and we were out for my friend's birthday as well. I was bringing them back when I saw the yellow light. I was close to the line, and I felt if I stopped, I would end up in the middle of the intersection. So I decided to keep going. Judge Spencer gave a small smile. You say you're a student, huh? What do you study? I study engineering and mathematics, Your Honor, Erin replied, her voice growing stronger with pride. I took courses like calculus, physics, and even biology last semester. The judge raised an eyebrow. Engineering and math? Two of the subjects I was terrible at, he joked, causing a ripple of laughter in the courtroom. He studied Erin for a moment, noticing her nervous smile, and the way her eyes flickered with both anxiety and hope. Let me guess, Judge Spencer continued, trying to lighten the mood. You didn't calculate the exact force needed to bring your car to a complete stop at that yellow light? Erin chuckled, her shoulders relaxing a little. I guess I forgot to factor in the weight of the vehicle and the slope of the road, Your Honor, she said, playing along. The judge smiled. So you're telling me that you can master calculus and linear algebra, but common sense might be a little trickier? The room filled with laughter. Even Erin couldn't help but laugh. They don't teach common sense at Roger Williams, Erin replied with a shrug. We leave that at the gate. Judge Spencer shook his head. Well, it's good to know that even the smartest people can make a mistake every now and then. He turned to the court clerk. Let's see the footage of the intersection. The courtroom turned its attention to the monitor as a clip of Erin's car approaching the intersection played. The footage showed Erin approaching just as the light turned yellow. She hesitated for a split second, but continued through the light. The road was empty, except for a single car approaching far in the distance. Judge Spencer nodded thoughtfully. He looked at Erin again, her anxious expression returning. You know, technically, you did violate the law. You should have stopped, even if it meant a sudden halt. Yes, Your Honor. I understand, Erin said quietly. Judge Spencer paused, tapping his pen against the desk. He glanced again at the nervous young woman standing before him. You mentioned you got straight A's on your finals. That's impressive. What courses did you take? Erin blinked, a bit confused by the sudden shift in the conversation. I took physics, calculus 2, biology, linear algebra, and writing, she said. The judge's eyes widened. Those are some tough subjects. And you aced all of them? Yes, Your Honor, Erin said, her voice more confident now. Judge Spencer leaned back in his chair, clearly impressed. Let me tell you something, Erin. It's not often we see young people dedicating themselves to their studies the way you have. The fact that you're pursuing engineering and math, spending long hours at the library, and even tutoring others, tells me a lot about your character. Erin's eyes brightened, and she smiled slightly. It was 2 a.m, Judge Spencer continued. The road was empty, and there was no risk to anyone else. Technically, you did break the law, but I also believe in rewarding hard work and dedication. The courtroom grew silent, everyone waiting for the judge's decision. Erin, Judge Spencer said, I'm going to dismiss your case today. Consider this a reward for all the hard work you've put into your education. Keep striving for excellence, and remember that with great knowledge comes great responsibility. Erin's face lit up with relief and gratitude. Thank you, Your Honor. I really appreciate it. Judge Spencer gave her a kind smile. Come back and see us after you get all A's next year, okay? Maybe then I'll have that mathematical formula worked out for you. Erin laughed. I'll be here, Your Honor. Let me guess, Judge Spencer continued, trying to lighten the mood. You didn't calculate the exact force needed to bring your car to a complete stop at that yellow light? Erin chuckled, her shoulders relaxing a little. I guess I forgot to factor in the weight of the vehicle and the slope of the road, Your Honor, she said, playing along. The judge smiled. So you're telling me that you can master calculus and linear algebra, but common sense might be a little trickier? The room filled with laughter. Even Erin couldn't help but laugh. They don't teach common sense at Roger Williams, Erin replied with a shrug. We leave that at the gate. Judge Spencer shook his head, amused. Well, it's good to know that even the smartest people can make a mistake every now and then. He turned to the court clerk. Let's see the footage of the intersection. The courtroom turned its attention to the monitor as a clip of Erin's car approaching the intersection played. The footage showed Erin approaching just as the light turned yellow. She hesitated for a split second, but continued through the light. The road was empty, except for a single car approaching far in the distance. Judge Spencer nodded thoughtfully as the video ended. He looked at Erin, her anxious expression returning. You know, technically, you did violate the law. You should have stopped, even if it meant a sudden halt, he said, his tone more serious now. Yes, Your Honor. I understand, Erin said quietly, her confidence fading. The judge leaned forward, resting his hands on the desk in front of him. You mentioned earlier that you were celebrating getting straight A's. That's quite an accomplishment, especially in the subjects you're studying. Erin nodded, a small smile returning to her face. Thank you, Your Honor. I've been working really hard. I believe you, Judge Spencer said, his eyes softening. It's not easy to juggle engineering and mathematics. You must have spent a lot of late nights studying. Erin laughed softly. Yes, Your Honor. I practically live in the library. Judge Spencer smiled. I can see that dedication. But here's the thing, Erin. No matter how smart you are, or how many A's you get, there are some lessons in life that can't be learned from a textbook. They're learned by experience. He paused, letting his words sink in. Erin nodded, her gaze meeting the judge's. I understand, Your Honor. I'm glad to hear that, Judge Spencer said. Now, I could fine you for this violation, but I believe in giving people a chance to learn from their mistakes, especially when they show promise like you do. The courtroom was silent as everyone waited to hear what the judge would say next. Erin's heart pounded in her chest, unsure of what to expect. Erin, I'm going to let you off with a warning today, Judge Spencer said, his voice kind. But I want you to remember this moment. Remember that the choices you make, even small ones like whether to stop at a yellow light, can have consequences. You're smart, and you have a bright future ahead of you. Don't let simple mistakes get in the way of that. Erin's eyes widened in surprise, and then filled with gratitude. Thank you, Your Honor. I promise I won't forget this. Judge Spencer nodded. I'm sure you won't. And next time you're doing your physics calculations, maybe include a little common sense in there, okay? The room filled with laughter again, the tension easing. Erin smiled, her eyes sparkling with a mix of relief and amusement. I'll do my best, Your Honor. Judge Spencer gave her a reassuring nod. Good. Now, go back to campus. Keep hitting those books and keep making us all proud. Erin felt a weight lift off her shoulders as she stepped back, her heart full. Thank you again, Your Honor, she said before turning to leave the courtroom. As she walked out, Erin couldn't help but feel a sense of overwhelming relief and a renewed sense of purpose. The judge's words echoed in her mind, that her choices mattered, and that even the smartest people had room to grow. She knew this was an experience she would carry with her for the rest of her life. A reminder to always think carefully, not just rely on her knowledge, but also on her judgment. Sarah, her best friend, was waiting for her outside. The moment she saw Erin, she rushed over, her face filled with anticipation. How did it go? What happened? She asked eagerly. Erin couldn't hold back her smile. He let me off with a warning, she said. He even joked about my physics skills. Sarah's eyes widened in disbelief. No way. That's amazing, Erin. She threw her arms around her friend, hugging her tightly. I knew you'd be okay. Erin hugged her back, her eyes misting over. I think I learned more today than I did all last semester, she said with a laugh. Sarah pulled back, looking at her with a grin. You always have to learn things the hard way, don't you? Erin shrugged, smiling. I guess I do. But hey, at least I got a story to tell. The two friends laughed as they walked away from the courthouse, the tension of the day finally behind them. Erin felt a renewed sense of determination. She wasn't just going to be a straight-A student. She was going to be someone who made wise choices, someone who could balance knowledge with good judgment. As they got into the car, Sarah turned to Erin. So, what now? Erin smiled, her eyes glancing up at the sky. Now? Now I go back to campus, I keep studying, and I keep making sure that every decision I make is the right one. For me, for my future, and for everyone around me. Sarah nodded, a proud smile on her face. That's the Erin I know. Erin took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the morning finally lift. She knew this was just the beginning. There would be more challenges, more moments where she would need to make the right call. But today, she had been reminded that she was capable, not just of academic success, but of learning from her mistakes and growing as a person. With that thought in mind, Erin started the car, ready to face whatever came next. Judge Spencer paused, tapping his pen against the desk. You mentioned you got straight A's on your finals. That's impressive. What courses did you take? Erin blinked, a bit confused by the sudden shift in the conversation. I took physics, calculus 2, biology, linear algebra, and writing, she said. The judge's eyes widened. Those are some tough subjects. And you aced all of them? Yes, Your Honor, Erin said, her voice more confident now. Judge Spencer leaned back in his chair, clearly impressed. Let me tell you something, Erin. It's not often we see young people dedicating themselves to their studies the way you have. The fact that you're pursuing engineering and math, spending long hours at the library, and even tutoring others, tells me a lot about your character. Erin's eyes brightened, and she smiled slightly. It was 2 a.m, Judge Spencer continued. The road was empty, and there was no risk to anyone else. Technically, you did break the law, but I also believe in rewarding hard work and dedication. The courtroom grew silent, everyone waiting for the judge's decision. Erin, Judge Spencer said, I'm going to dismiss your case today. Consider this a reward for all the hard work you've put into your education. Keep striving for excellence, and remember that with great knowledge comes great responsibility. Erin's face lit up with relief and gratitude. Thank you, Your Honor. I really appreciate it. Judge Spencer gave her a kind smile. Come back and see us after you get all A's next year, okay? Maybe then I'll have that mathematical formula worked out for you. Erin laughed. I'll be here, Your Honor. The judge nodded, a twinkle in his eye. Good. Now, don't let this go to your head. You've earned this chance, but remember, it's a privilege, not a right. Erin nodded earnestly. I understand, Your Honor. I won't let you down. Judge Spencer gave her one last approving nod before turning his attention to the next case. All right, let's move on. Erin stepped away from the bench, her heart lighter than it had been when she entered the courtroom. She could feel the eyes of the people in the room on her, and for the first time that day, she felt a surge of pride rather than anxiety. She had been given a second chance, not because of luck, but because of the hard work she had put in, and she wasn't going to waste it. As she walked out of the courtroom, she saw her best friend, Sarah, waiting for her in the hallway. Sarah had been pacing nervously, her face lighting up the moment she spotted Erin. Erin, Sarah called, rushing over to her. How did it go? Erin couldn't hold back the smile that spread across her face. He dismissed it, she said, her voice almost disbelieving. He let me off with a warning because of my grades and all the work I've been doing. Sarah's eyes widened, and then she squealed, throwing her arms around Erin. Oh my God, that's amazing. I knew you'd be okay. Erin hugged her back, laughing. I can't believe it. He even joked about my math skills. Sarah pulled back, her eyes glistening with happy tears. You deserve this, Erin. No one works harder than you. Erin nodded, feeling the weight of the morning lift off her shoulders. It's such a relief. I was so scared that one mistake was going to ruin everything. Sarah shook her head, her expression serious now. One mistake doesn't define you. And you heard the judge. You're doing amazing things. This is just a bump in the road. Erin took a deep breath, letting Sarah's words sink in. You're right, and I'm going to keep working hard. I'm not going to let this happen again. Sarah smiled, looping her arm through Erin's. That's the spirit. Now, how about we go celebrate you not getting a ticket? Erin laughed, feeling a sense of joy she hadn't felt in days. I think I could go for some ice cream. They walked out of the courthouse together, the bright morning sun warming their faces. As they made their way to the car, Erin glanced back at the building, her heart filled with gratitude. The experience had been terrifying, but it had also been a reminder of what she was capable of how far she had come, and of the people who believed in her. Judge Spencer's words echoed in her mind. With great knowledge comes great responsibility. She knew that her journey wasn't just about getting good grades. It was about using her knowledge to make good decisions, to help others, and to continue growing as a person. As they drove away, Sarah turned to her, a mischievous smile on her face. So, does this mean you're going to calculate every yellow light from now on? Erin laughed, shaking her head. I think I'll leave the physics in the classroom, but I'll definitely think twice before speeding through one again. Sarah grinned. That's my girl. Erin leaned back in her seat, a smile on her face as she looked out the window. She knew there would be more challenges ahead. More late nights, more difficult exams, more moments where she would have to make the right call. But today had shown her that she was capable of handling it all, that her hard work was worth it, and that sometimes, even when you make a mistake, life gives you a chance to make things right. And Erin was determined to make the most of every chance she got. As Erin walked out of the courtroom, she felt a wave of emotions. Relief, gratitude, and a sense of validation she hadn't anticipated. The courtroom experience had started as something intimidating, but it had ended on a note of compassion and understanding. She couldn't wait to tell her friends and family about what had happened. Outside the courthouse, Erin was greeted by her best friend, Sarah, who had accompanied her for support. How did it go? Sarah asked, her face full of concern. Erin grinned. He let me off. He said it was a reward for all the A's I got. Sarah's eyes widened. No way. That's amazing, Erin. She pulled Erin into a hug. I knew it would be okay. You deserve it. The two friends walked to their car, the tension of the morning slowly dissipating. Erin looked up at the sky, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. She realized that her hard work truly mattered, not just to her professors or her parents, but to people she had never even met, like Judge Spencer. She thought about his words, with great knowledge comes great responsibility. It was a reminder that her education wasn't just about grades. It was about how she used her skills and knowledge to contribute to the world, to make it a better place. The following days were a whirlwind. Erin returned to campus, but something had changed. She no longer felt the weight of her academic responsibilities as a burden. Instead, she embraced the challenge, knowing that every late night and every tough exam was a stepping stone to something greater. The courtroom experience had given her a sense of purpose beyond just getting good grades. It was about using her education to make meaningful contributions. She shared her story with her friends, and they were in awe. They listened with rapt attention as she recounted the judge's words, the laughter in the courtroom, and the ultimate dismissal of her case. Her story became a source of inspiration for others, a reminder that hard work and dedication were recognized, even in the most unexpected places. One evening, Erin was sitting in the library, tutoring a freshman named Alex in calculus. Alex was struggling, his brow furrowed in concentration as he tried to grasp the concept of limits. Erin watched him for a moment before speaking. Hey, Alex, she said softly. I know this is tough, but you've got what it takes. Just remember, every challenge is a chance to grow. Alex looked up at her, his frustration easing a little. You really think so? Erin nodded, smiling. I do. Trust me, I've been there. And sometimes, the lessons you learn from pushing through the hard stuff are the ones that stick with you the most. Alex smiled back, and Erin could see a spark of determination returning to his eyes. She knew that helping others, just as she had been helped, was part of her journey now. It wasn't just about acing her classes, it was about making a difference. Later that week, Erin received an email from her professor, Dr. Thompson, inviting her to speak at an upcoming seminar for incoming engineering students. The topic was perseverance in the face of challenges. Erin hesitated for a moment, the idea of speaking in front of a large group making her stomach flutter. But then she remembered Judge Spencer's words and the feeling of validation she had experienced in the courtroom. She replied to the email, accepting the invitation. On the day of the seminar, Erin stood in front of the auditorium, her heart pounding as she faced a room full of young, eager faces. She took a deep breath and began to speak. "I want to share a story with you," she started, her voice steady. "A story about a mistake I made and the lesson I learned from it. It's not always about being perfect, but about learning and growing from every experience." The audience listened intently as Erin spoke about her courtroom experience, the fear she had felt, and the compassion that had been shown to her. She spoke about the importance of balancing knowledge with judgment and how her mistake had ultimately made her a better student and a better person. When she finished, the room erupted in applause. Erin smiled, her heart full. She realized that her journey wasn't just about her own success. It was about inspiring others to keep going, even when things got tough. After the seminar, a young woman approached Erin. She introduced herself as Mia, a freshman who was struggling to find her place in the engineering program. "Your story really resonated with me," Mia said, her voice tinged with emotion. "I've been feeling so overwhelmed, like I'm not good enough. But hearing what you went through, it makes me feel like maybe I can do this too." Erin placed a reassuring hand on Mia's shoulder. "You absolutely can. We all make mistakes, but it's how we move forward that defines us. Just take it one step at a time, and don't be afraid to ask for help." Mia smiled, her eyes glistening with tears. "Thank you, Erin. I really needed to hear that." Erin watched as Mia walked away, a sense of fulfillment washing over her. She knew that this was what mattered, using her experiences to help others, to lift them up when they needed it most. That night, Erin sat on her dorm room bed, reflecting on the past few weeks. She thought about how one moment in a courtroom had changed her perspective, had reminded her of the importance of compassion, both for herself and for others. It wasn't just about the grades or the accolades. It was about the journey, the people she met along the way, and the impact she could make. Erin picked up her phone and sent a quick message to Sarah. "Ice cream tonight? I think we've got more celebrating to do." Sarah's reply came almost instantly. "Absolutely. Meet you at 8. As Erin put her phone down, she smiled. She knew there would always be challenges, late-night study sessions, difficult exams, and unexpected setbacks. But she also knew that she had the strength to face them, and that she wasn't alone. She had friends, mentors, and even strangers who believed in her. And most importantly, she had learned to believe in herself. A week later, Erin was back on campus, sitting in the library, her books spread out in front of her. She was studying for the upcoming semester, determined to keep up the momentum. She had always been motivated, but now, after her experience in the courtroom, she felt an even stronger drive to succeed. She had shared her story with a few classmates, and the response had been overwhelming. Her friends were inspired by the compassion shown by Judge Spencer, and it reminded them all that sometimes the world can be a fair place, where hard work is recognized and rewarded. Erin even decided to get more involved in her university community. She signed up to mentor incoming freshmen, hoping to help them navigate the challenges of balancing their studies with the rest of life's responsibilities. She wanted to be a role model for others, just as Judge Spencer had been for her in that brief but significant moment. As she looked around the library, Erin saw students just like her, determined, hopeful, and striving for a better future. She smiled, knowing that her story was just beginning. There were challenges ahead, but she was ready for them. She had the support of her friends, her family, and even strangers who believed in her potential. One day, as Erin was wrapping up her study session, she noticed a young student sitting alone, looking frustrated and defeated. Erin walked over, her heart going out to the student. "Hey, are you okay?" she asked gently. The student looked up, her eyes red from tears. "I'm just struggling with all of this. I don't know if I'm cut out for college," she admitted. Erin smiled, remembering the many times she had felt the same way. "I've been there," she said, sitting down beside the student. It's tough, but you're not alone. And trust me, it gets better. I can help you if you want." The student's face softened, a glimmer of hope returning to her eyes. "Really? You do that?" "Of course," Erin said warmly. "We all need a little help sometimes. And I know you've got what it takes. You just need to believe in yourself." The student nodded, a small smile forming on her lips. "Thank you," she whispered. Erin spent the next hour helping the student with her work, guiding her through the concepts that seemed impossible just moments before. As they worked, Erin realized that this was what she wanted to do. Not just excel academically, but also help others find their way, to be the support that others had been for her. The following week, Erin received an email from her professor, inviting her to apply for a leadership program that focused on community service and mentorship. Erin knew immediately that she wanted to be a part of it. She filled out the application with excitement, her heart full of hope for the opportunities ahead. A few weeks later, Erin received the news. She had been accepted into the program. She felt a rush of pride, knowing that her efforts were being recognized. But more importantly, she felt a sense of purpose. She was ready to make an impact, to be a mentor, and to help create a supportive community for students like herself. Erin's journey was far from over. There would be more late nights, more difficult exams, and moments where she doubted herself. But now she knew that those moments didn't define her. It was how she responded to them, how she used her experiences to grow and help others, that truly mattered. As she walked across campus, Erin felt a sense of excitement for the future. She knew that the path ahead would be full of challenges, but also full of possibilities. She was ready to embrace every moment, to face every challenge, and to continue growing, not just for herself, but for those who came after her. Maybe, just maybe, one day she would return to that courtroom, not as someone needing a second chance, but as someone ready to give back, someone who could inspire others just as Judge Spencer had inspired her. And that thought filled her heart with hope for the future.